Welcome to Between the Lines, a series from Teaching in Higher Ed. This time on Between the Lines, we examine how our teaching approaches can make college more equitable. And I get to do that with a wonderful book from David Gooblar, One Classroom at a Time, How Better Teaching Can Make College More Equitable. He is the author of another wonderful book, by the way, The Missing Course. And in One Classroom at a Time, he reminds us, he argues, that the heart of higher education's equity challenges can really lie in the classroom. And that by reimagining teaching, not who we wish we had in our classes, but actually who we're there to serve, can not require an entire overhaul, but actually he gives us a lot of hope and a lot of practicality about thinking about what our classrooms assume about our students. And I'm here to offer 3 things that I think they're small teaching moves I think we can draw from One Classroom at a Time. First off, I mentioned the imaginary student. This is something that gets talked about a lot, and it's really been passed from generation upon generation from all the way back when higher education first started. When higher education first began historically, it was designed for the students at the time, the male, white, able-bodied students who also were financially secure. And now, today, if we design courses as if that's still the default, we end up sending, oftentimes inadvertently, signals to our students about their ability to succeed. And we want to revisit our assumptions about time, access, and participation, and start teaching the students we have, not the students we wish we had or we imagined that someday back in the day we used to have or used to be even ourselves. A second practical idea here is to design for scarcity, not abundance. Some of you may remember, not all of you of course, but some of you may remember a time when you went to college where you had a kind of life where you were able to devote a lot of time outside of classes and were able to really have your college days be a time for purely intellectual pursuits. Most of the students that most of us teach today are balancing a lot more than their coursework. They're balancing jobs, caregiving, financial pressures, and instability. So we want to design with those things in mind. A few ideas might be we can break our larger assignments into smaller micro assignments with associated micro deadlines. That will help take that giant task that for some of us was a fairly easy task to be able to break those things down or pull the all-nighter, but to really be able to provide those supports that our students need. Another effective practice is we can have exemplar work. We can provide templates or examples for complex tasks and help students break things down that way. And finally, we can choose low cost or even free open materials so that success in our classes doesn't depend on privilege. Designing for scarcity does not mean lowering our standards. It removes invisible barriers so that every student can meet them. Finally, we want to make policies equitable, not equal. And we can do this by remembering that when we're equitable, we're not treating every student the same because every student isn't the same, but we're finding ways to meet the unique needs of our students. And one way we can do this is actually to open up for dialogue with students. Pick a policy from your syllabus. Perhaps it's attendance policy or a late work or a participation, and invite discussion on those policies so that you can be baking in more equity for all of your students. You can invite your class to discuss what fairness would look like and adjust one policy. Just try it out and see what those dialogue, those conversations might reveal to help you have your classroom be more transparent and more humane. When we stop teaching the students we wish we had and start designing for the ones we actually have, using so much of the guidance from David Gooblar's book, we are going to be able to fulfill the promise of higher education, one classroom at a time. That's it for this edition of Between the Lines. Keep reading, keep reflecting, and keep reimagining what's possible between the lines.